recent internships. And so there were some relationships that had been built, and so the number was in my mind. So yeah, I kind of on a whim tried to set up an interview there, thinking, at least if I'm able to get an interview, at least I'll go to the studio, check it out. It'll be a fun thing to do while I'm visiting.
Well, this might seem unimportant, but was it a paid internship originally, or was it?
Oh, it's unpaid. Totally. That's really the horrible thing about it. One of the only bad things about it, that was that most TV internships are unpaid, which creates, I think, like a weird barrier to entry. Like, I was lucky enough to be able to, I did it right after graduating, so I would basically put all the money I made, like, from people giving me graduation gifts, I put it into moving to New York to do this internship. I ended up interning there for 2 semesters consecutively, so I was there for like 8 months.
And in what capacity were you there? What were your day-to-day responsibilities?
I was a script intern, which involved a lot of photocopying and running scripts around the office. This was not only unpaid, but it was pretty glamorous.
Yeah. Okay. And were there other responsibilities? Did you able to like get closer to some of the higher production staff?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, the one thing that was nice was that I tried to get this particular internship because I knew that it would mean being able to meet writers more than other ones would. And I didn't have too much interaction with them. It was, really at the bottom of the totem pole. But yeah, I ran the script around the office every day, so I got a chance to like have some sort of conversation with the writers, and also just meet people. I did a variety of things. Maybe one of the most fun things was like before the show, I would sometimes get to like spell check cue cards as Conan was like reading off his monologue to us. It was actually like a pretty great thrill. It was pretty cool. It sounds weird. No, damn.
So that's it. And this is going to sound silly also, but I know there are a lot of people that are probably going to step out into the world to intern, etc. Did anybody like explain to you that there's like a certain code of conduct or etiquette that you had to adhere to, or kind of learn on your feet?
A little bit of both. We get like a binder full of information on our first day that was helpful as far as like things you can and can't do, approaching guests and things. You can't. Okay. But yeah, you also kind of have to learn to figure out what is your place and the right times to approach people, the right times to try and ask people questions about what they do. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so you were there for about.
One thing I wasn't told that's kind of not super important, but you do not have to wear a suit to a job interview like this. People will tell you that you have to. Your parents will believe that you have to. But I dressed up for my internship interview at Cont'd, and I've come to learn that that's the sign of an intern coming in to be interviewed.
So you should kind of just like roll out of bed and just kind of roll.
Yeah.
That's your suggestion. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Come in looking like you don't care whether you get it.
Okay.
And they're like, well, look at this guy. He doesn't care. We need him.
Right. Okay.
No, dress up. You don't have to wear a suit. It really is like when I see somebody walk in the door in a suit at Colbert, it's like, oh, we're hiring you. I get it. You save yourself some embarrassment. People will talk about it.
Okay. This is one of those people, so definitely yes. All right. So just to track chronologically, so you were at Cont'd for about 8 months, and over the course. Okay. And of course, I want to get in a moment to how you transition from Conan O'Brien to Colbert Report, like two pretty iconic shows. Like, was your ascension, or I shouldn't say ascension, but just your move to the Colbert Report, was that based on relationships you developed at Cont'd?
Yeah. One of the writers at Cont'd was leaving to become the head writer at Colbert, or one of the 2 head writers at Colbert Report. And she was, I didn't really know her that well. I dropped scripts off on her desk every day. But yeah, this show was starting up, and I was ending my 2nd semester of interning for free and desperately needed a job. And the 2 of my supervisors gave me a recommendation. They were like, this guy is looking for a job, so if you need anybody at Colbert, as you guys are hiring and staffing up, then please interview.
Was that another unpaid position, or was this for a paid position?
This was for a paid position. Yeah,
okay.
This was for a PA position. Yeah.
And what just not to take for granted that everybody knows what that means. What is it?
It's a production assistant, and you end up doing. It's kind of like the lowest paid position. You usually on a set or on or in a staff, and depending on like how things are formatted at a particular production, like that, you know, your duties can vary, but you're oftentimes like going on runs, getting coffee. You know, it's more or less like a paid leadership, depending. Sometimes you get more responsibilities than that, but yeah, you're kind of starting off at the bottom, just like working with the staff, doing whatever you do.
Well, this begins like a very exciting portion, I think, of this conversation because, you know, now you are a producer now at the Colbert Report. So
It's better than saying.
yeah, better, exactly. I just want to let you know.
Okay, all right, no,
You
it's
better
cool.
bring
We're
it-
really going for
you
it.
better bring it down. Okay, so when you started off there, like, what was the tone and tenor of that environment? Like, did anybody know that this show was poised to become so culturally significant?
No, and it was cool because you were really in on the ground floor or something. Like I started there a couple months before the show went on air, so it was really cool to see how a show got built. It was interesting to see kind of people sort of figure out this character. You know, so much of the show is based on just this one guy and his character. So it was interesting to see, yeah, it was interesting to see how that was built and how people and Stephen and how the writers started to figure that out, and also how you know, was there for like the taping of the credit sequence and stuff like that. You know, like things that if I'd gotten in later, I wouldn't have had a chance to see it. But it was a really cool office immediately. It's full of really great people. Yeah, I think there was like a lot of hope and excitement, but there was no guarantee. We were scheduled for. We started in October 2005. We basically had a deal through the end of December, Comedy Central. So we were going to make that many. 20-something episodes, something like that. So it was just kind of like a trial run, and it was, you know, it was branching off the Daily Show, which was hugely successful, and that definitely helped, and I think definitely allowed us to think that it was going to be successful. There's totally no guarantee that way.
And so, and obviously Stephen Colbert had been on, worked closely with Jon Stewart, had
Yeah.
been on the Daily Show for a while. How closely involved was Jon Stewart initially?
Initially more than he is now, I would guess. He's one of the executive producers, and it's his production company that started this show. I don't know exactly how involved he was as far as like the conception of the show, but at the beginning he was around fairly often and like looking at rehearsals. And I think he did a few rehearsal shows before we went to air, and yeah, I think he was there kind of helping out. I think he guided it, but he didn't seem like insanely hands-on.